My name is Kathleen Murphy, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have been working in healing modalities for the last 40 years. I actually have a mission statement that I put on my resume, but it's not really for the resume, it's for life itself. And that my whole mission is to contribute in a meaningful way to the easing of suffering that arises from complex relational wounding. How do we even recognize wounding, and how do we help people heal? I was thinking about this subject, and I was on a plane and I started reading this book all about love, and I read this paragraph that Bell Hooks wrote, and I think it describes exactly what I'm trying to say. If you don't mind, I would like to read you just a little portion of where we're going today, and looking at not only that I have it, but that I have a right to say, ow, I hurt. So I'm going to read you just a fragment of this book called All About Love. So when I was a child, it was clear to me that life was not worth living if we did not know love. I wish I could testify that I came to this awareness because of the love I felt in my life. But it was love's absence that let me know how much love mattered. I was my father's first daughter. At the moment of my birth, I was looked upon with loving kindness. I was cherished and made to feel wanted on this earth and in my home. To this day, I cannot remember when that feeling of being loved left me. I just know that one day I was no longer precious. Those who had initially loved me well turned away. The absence, and I'm going to read this twice. The absence of their recognition and regard pierced my heart and left me with the feeling of brokenheartedness so profound I was spellbound. The absence of their recognition and regard. It pierced my heart and left me with the feeling of brokenheartedness so profound I was spellbound. Grief and sadness overwhelmed me. I did not know what I had done wrong, and nothing I tried made it right. So here's a story. Nothing happened except for the absence of attention. See, when I read this when I read the line, a feeling of brokenheartedness so profound I was spellbound, it lets me know that, oh my goodness, there's this trance. A trance of, why am I not worthy of love? And maybe when she speaks to this, and then my parents suddenly, they started hitting me. Or there's no mention of that. There's a turning away that led to a feeling of brokenheartedness that had nothing to do with romantic love, because sometimes we look at brokenheartedness as if it was about romance. But in some ways, every child is in a romance with their parent. I think about my own father, like he was my first love. And when he turned away, not because my father did anything to me, but turned away towards his work, towards his alcoholism, I didn't think, oh, my dad is doing something wrong. I thought, why does he not pay attention to me? Have I done something wrong? And that feeling of not being paid attention to. And in our culture, we say things like this. Oh, they just want attention. As if I want to scream out, oh, they just want water. Because this thing, attention, that we've been taught in some ways, some of us, to feel ashamed of the need of attention, or the way that we say it, wanting to be seen. But there's this thing, if we can't be seen, it's hard to see too, right? And so it's like there's this disconnection where we no longer seem to belong, and it leads to an emptiness and a constant seeking for approval. Every being has a longing for this to be precious and special in the eyes of the beloved, and the first beloved is the parent. The mother, father. And sometimes, because maybe we're not taught what it is to be a human being, and I just want to mention this part, I know that a human being that has the right conditions in which to flourish, to grow, because we're not born with a nervous system that is fully developed. That takes about 25 years. It's not that people are doing anything wrong. It's just that we don't have a culture that is creating the conditions to give children, and especially in the early years, that mirroring that is like, I matter, I belong. A child needs to assert their autonomy, and that comes up at about age 2. So let's give an example of a child who it's snowing and it's cold outside, and the child says, I don't want to wear a coat. And, a mother who needs that child to wear the coat for a variety of reasons, spoken or unspoken, that might be, I can't let you go outside with a coat. What would other people think of me? You have to wear the coat. And so overriding that child, rather than go, okay, let's just do natural consequences. The child's, no, I'm not wearing the coat. And so a mother who allows a child space to explore the world would be like, okay, honey, and would walk right on outside, and it's cold, and that child goes, Mommy, I'm cold. Here's your coat, honey. Rather than engaging in that power struggle. And that's very complicated, because that's even would take a parent with a lot of awareness, is like, why am I demanding or getting into a power struggle? Because there's a lot of ways that we're afraid of being perceived as a bad parent, which speaks to our own neglect issues. Because there's that constant need of approval that's going to override, and you're going to see this child. I think it's really important to consider that sometimes people have a hard time recognizing that there is neglect, because the traditional definition of neglect might look like, oh, you don't have the right food, you have dirty clothes, you're not showing up to school on time, things like that. And those are true neglect, and those are extremes of neglect. There might be some of you that you have this unease or this perpetual dis-ease, and you have no reason for it. And when you think about understanding your own history, one of the problems is that we also live in a culture of blame. So when we speak about this, I want to say that we're not blaming any parent. What I want to say is that we're trying to understand the conditions of our existence. And that if blame helped anyone, we would go, let's blame. But blame just pushes people back down into shame. And we want to be really sensitive. I mean, I'm a parent, and I've been an imperfect parent. And one of the ways that I neglected my own child was because my parents were over-boundaried, over-strict. I just let her have too much space. So she didn't feel the need for boundaries, and that's a neglect. It was like I gave her whatever she wanted because I didn't have whatever I wanted. And so I thought that that would fill her up or fill me up. But it took a long time in my own growth to recognize, oh, I'm giving her all this because that's what I wanted, but she actually needs boundaries. She needs me to show up and say, no, honey. She also needs to not carry the weight of who I am. I think sometimes in healing work, we jump too far into the future. Again, there's a thing that I teach over and over. It's like before you can actually understand the way that you're wounded, you have to understand what it is to be a human being. And sometimes I use this example. Let's say you grew up in a family and there's a sibling that is ill, and the parents need and must attend to that other child. But you're still thirsty and you still need water. But then what happens is we begin to feel guilt and shame about the want, even for the desire for that water, so to speak, that love. And we start pushing it away because we can't even bear knowing, because it feels so selfish. And we think, I'm not allowed to want this because, and what a bad person I am for even wanting it, when, how dare I? And you see your parents who are working so hard to meet that need of that sibling. And so what a human being would do under those conditions was begin to push that down like it didn't exist. And then how that would show up in their lives is they would more than likely become a caretaker, because they can give, but they're not allowed to receive. And even longing to receive, there would be like shame on top of it. Sometimes I say this, there's these conditions that happen, it's like moments of desperation that arrive like gifts or messages, that hurt or pain, or that even that secret loneliness that maybe you don't even dare to give a voice to out loud to anyone. It's a symbol or a message to you like, I need something, and I need something from you, or from me, right? And so the first order of business is even owning, I often do this, I'm suffering. This is a moment of suffering. And to begin, first and foremost, to acknowledge it to oneself. And then maybe to whisper it out loud to a close friend who might have the capacity to hear it. And then that making more space for yourself to acknowledge, I wish I would have had the attention that I needed, and I feel so bad even wishing for it. There would have to be some sort of scaffolding that was laid down for a long period of time, and this might not be a conversation that you ever have with a parent. Yes, of course a parent did the best that they can, but it doesn't mean that you didn't get what you want. So we're not talking about intention, we're talking about impact. And so you might have to do the thing that none of us really want to do, which is we begin to reparent ourselves. The other thing that some of us do is, and I have done, and many people that I've worked with, is we develop families of choice where we get what we need. For example, I have a friend, Janelle, and when I go to her house, she warms up the coffee. It's like she cares for me in a way that I didn't get. I think that sometimes people have the assumption that if they own their wounding, that it will somehow hurt their parents, and they don't want to hurt them. And there's something about when you begin to learn how to take care of yourself that you can actually see other people not in a judgmental way or judgmental manner, but recognize capacity, like a client of mine who really wanted to be close to her father, but her father couldn't have those conversations. But you know what the father could do? Golf. And so there is a way that she stopped asking the father to have these conversations, and she came into a kind of acceptance to see, this is what my father has to offer, and if I choose to be in relationship with him, because I can, because I have some healing, and perhaps he has not, that I can meet him where he is. I can golf, I can have those moments of connection. I can understand capacity and not just be asking for something from a parent that doesn't know how to give it. A lot of us wish that we could have these conversations with our parents and that they had the capacity, but they carry their own woundedness as well. And there's something that happens when we really engage in our own healing, that our own capacity for understanding other people and making decisions, it's making decisions. Do I want to be in relationship with my father? And if so, what does that person have to give? And who can I talk about? I'm disappointed that my dad doesn't remember or can't give me an apology that I wish that he would give. But there is something that happens on the frontier of healing in the layers. I've seen it myself. As you own the neglect, and the neglect it's almost of an emotional and spiritual nature, I have to say. That once you start allowing ourselves to give us what we need, time, attention, love, good friends, good therapy, cultivating spirituality. I mean, I myself have a practice that I think sounds goofy when I say it, but when you weren't born into conditions of basic trust so that your body doesn't know how to relax and is chronically anxious and looking to see if you're okay or safe, that wounding to the nervous system, which is on high anxiety and always having to look for approval and do more, do good, the practice that I've developed, and I invite my clients into using it, is, for example, I'm sitting on a chair right now talking to you, but I'm also aware that I'm going to sit back and rest knowing that I'm held, that I don't have to fight, that even if my clients weren't held in childhood in the way that they actually needed, that every moment of the day I can take these small, mundane moments and practice relaxing and letting go of the bracing. Because somehow or another, that bracing during the day when you're anxious, oh my God, I got to get stuff done. And you know, if you become aware of the tension, it's like, that's that mistrust. Even in this chair, like, okay, I'm going to relax and know that I am held And I don't know how to do it all the time. I've been on a healing path for 42 plus years. But I teach it to you so that I will remember. And so the next time that you see me, in case I'm a little jacked up, that you'll say, hey, weren't you the gal that taught me to rest back into the chair and practice knowing that the process of life itself is trustworthy? And this is me pouring attention and healing and recognition onto some of those wounds that they may never heal in all its entirety. But I can recognize, oh, here that is. Here that part of me that's getting anxious right now. Here's that childlike part that doesn't know that things are okay, but I can say, it's okay, honey, I got you. Tell me what you need. I'm listening. I have the good fortune, the privilege, the honor of getting to supervise the Healing Trauma Program. And one of my favorite ways I get to participate in that is that I do the morning meditations and lectures. Many of the participants who come to on-site, they don't have overt wounding. How they know they do is they have this persistent sense of dis-ease and not enoughness. If this is your experience, I urge you to consider giving yourself a great gift. Time to disconnect. Finally, time for you to look at, what do I need to flourish? And how I might heal with other people. The program is so remarkable. I get to do the openings and I see people there like nervous and scared and how can we possibly get this much in 5 or 6 days? It's impossible. And what I know, what I trust, what I experience, what I have witnessed, a person will give themselves a chance, just dare to leave your life for a week and come and give yourself the healing attention that you've needed for so long. I can't guarantee exactly that you're going to walk away going, oh my God, I'm totally transformed and healed. But what I can say is that you will experience a shift. And maybe for some of you, because I've heard this over and over, maybe a sense of yourself that you have missed or longed for as long as you can remember. I have come to see that whatever it is that you experience, I no longer see pain as the enemy. I see it as an invitation to transformation. That this nature's way of calling your name to say, hey, there's a possibility here. There's a lot of us on the path, and we just want you to join us on the possibility of allowing yourself not to build a capacity for enduring more pain, but to widen your capacity for love and joy and to enjoy this life. That's possible. It's not only possible, it's a reality. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you and look forward to meeting you at the Healing Trauma Program.